Today is March 20th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It's a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today, we're going to be reading out of the Big Book, actually finishing off The Vicious Cycle, pages 229 through 231. And out of the 12 and 12, we're going to journey through Step 10 and finish off page 89 today. So with all that, my friends, some short reading today. But let's get right to the good stuff. All right, my friends. So if you recall from yesterday's reading, things are starting to slowly but surely get better for our friend. And what was interesting is that this friend in the vicious cycle is responsible for the phrase, God as we understand him. And in one of the last paragraphs we read, it said, for a long time, the only higher power that I could concede was the power of the group. But this was far more than I had ever recognized before, and it was at least a beginning. It was also an ending, for never since June 16th, 1938, have I had to walk alone. All right, so we are going to pick up where we left off yesterday at the bottom of page 229 and read up to page 231 today. After the book appeared, we all became very busy in our efforts to save all and sundry. But I was still actually on the fringes of AA. Well, I went along with all that was done and attended the meetings. I never took an active job of leadership until February 1940. Then, I got a very good position in Philadelphia and quickly found that I would need a few fellow alcoholics around me if I was to stay sober. Thus, I found myself in the middle of a brand new group. When I started to tell the boys how we did it in New York, and all about the spiritual part of the program, I found that they would not believe me unless I was practicing what I preached. Then I found that as I gave in to the spiritual or personality change, I was getting a little more serenity. In telling newcomers how to change their lives and attitudes, all of a sudden, I found that I was doing a little changing myself. I had been too self-sufficient to write a moral inventory. But I discovered in pointing out to the new man his wrong attitudes and actions that I was really taking my own inventory. And that if I expected him to change, I would have to work on myself too. This change has been a long, slow process for me. But through these latter years, the dividends have been tremendous. In June 1945, with another member, I made my first and only 12th step call on a female alcoholic, and a year later, I married her. She has been sober all the way through, and for me, that has been good. We can share in the laughter and the tears of our many friends, and most important, we can share our AA way of life and are given a daily opportunity to help others. In conclusion, I can only say that whatever growth or understanding has come to me, I have no wish to graduate. Very rarely do I miss the meetings of my neighborhood AA group, and my average have never been less than 2 meetings a week. I have served on only one committee in the past 9 years, for I feel that I had my chance the first few years and that newer members should fill the jobs. They are far more alert and progressive than we floundering fathers were. And the future of our fellowship is in their hands. We now live in the West and are very fortunate in our area AA. It's good, it's simple, and friendly. And our one desire is to stay in AA, not on it. Our pet slogan is, easy does it. And I will say that as long as I remember that January 8th in Washington, that is how long, by the grace of God, as I understand him, I will retain a happy sobriety. All right, great stuff. Cannot wait to come back to this in just a minute. All right, so we've been journeying through the 12 and 12 here. We're on step 10, which is continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. And in yesterday's reading, we talked about how there's a spot check inventory taken at any time of the day. There's one that we take at the day's end. And then there's the annual inventory. You know, we have choices here of which ones we want to put into practice in our lives. So we are going to finish off the page 89, going into 90. Aren't these practices joy killers as well as time consumers? Must AAs spend most of their waking hours drearily rehashing their sins of omission or commission? Well, hardly. The emphasis on inventory is heavy only because a great many of us have never really acquired the habit of accurate self-appraisal. Once this healthy practice has become grooved, it will be so interesting and profitable that the time it takes won't be missed. For these minutes and sometimes hours spent in self-examination are bound to make all the other hours of the day better and happier. And at length, our inventories become a regular part of everyday living, rather than something unusual or set apart. All right, I absolutely love that. It says right here, it makes all the other hours of our day better and happier. Oh man, I can relate to that. Anytime I do something wrong or something selfish and I catch myself, I try to get on my knees if that's a possibility. Or even if I'm in a big crowd, I'll say a silent prayer or a whispered prayer. God, that was wrong. Please forgive me. Do I owe an amends? What can I learn from this? That's that spot check inventory. And honestly, I know this is like a microcosm here, just talking about one occasion, but honestly, it's also a metaphor for sobriety itself. Yeah, it's work, but as I've always said, or I try to say, the sobriety is so worth the work. The days of happiness, that you feel, it's so worth it. Sobriety is so much better. It makes our hours and our days better and happier. It's worth the work. So going back to the big book real fast, our friend in The Vicious Cycle, as he starts his new group in Philadelphia, go Flyers. Sorry, I had to throw that in there. As he's doing his work in Philadelphia, he realizes that he needs to really practice what he's preaching because he's got some men that he's trying to help and they're not really buying what he's selling unless he's doing the same thing. So he's opened the door to more spiritual matters, which is a far cry from the way he was at the beginning of his story. I love that, and that's what he really tries to emphasize, that there is something to this spirituality thing. So coming from a guy that was completely different earlier to where he is now, it's amazing how the God of my understanding works, He ends up meeting his future wife in AA. I love this line right here. In conclusion, I can only say that whatever growth or understanding has come to me, I have no wish to graduate. So, no matter how many years he had under his belt, he kept going to meetings. He kept trying to learn and spiritually grow. And that's the way I'd like to be. I don't think this is a program that I can ever graduate from because I simply don't want to. I want to keep growing. I want to stick with what worked for me. And these things have worked for me. And I've gone from, I have to go to a meeting to I get to go to a meeting. It's exciting for me because usually, if not always, every single time I go, God will use somebody to tell me what I need to hear. It's amazing how this works. Plus, I've gained a family. I don't think I'm going to be graduating until I hit those pearly gates one day. But anyways, my friends, I hope you all have a great day. Hope you all are doing well. As always, I don't speak on behalf of AA or any other sect. I'm just a friend in recovery. That's it. Not a professional narrator, obviously. I'm sure you know that. But I'm just a grateful friend in recovery, and I'm so grateful you're here in this lifeboat of recovery with me. Hope you all have a good one, and I look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow.